Boker Tov, Yom Tov, Zoharim Tovim, and Laila Tov, no matter where you're at. This is Carrie, and I am going to actually speak today from the proof room to share with you a couple things. And for those of you who don't know, I just said good morning, good day, good afternoon, and good evening. I had a gentleman that is recently new to our channel, and he asked some really good questions, but they're also pretty tough to answer, because these are foundational principles within the Christian church, and I actually told him that I hesitated in answering these things because they were so foundational. But sometimes when we're learning new things, and I don't know how you guys feel about this, but sometimes I like just to have the Band-Aid ripped off. The slow agony of taking it off just a little of a time, being afraid of the pain that's going to be involved, and hesitating actually makes it last a lot longer than just a real quick swoop. And so I feel like that's what I need to do today. But I'm still hesitant on it, because the biggest thing that I am most concerned about is the condition of your heart, as one who is here, who is willing to challenge narratives, audit doctrines and dogmas, to be able to see where we are at in our level of growth, in being able to cut away those things that no longer serve us as we're moving into this beautiful new epoch in light and love. So one of the first things that he wanted to address was, he wanted to know if I believed that Jesus was the only begotten Son. And I thought I would actually show you the verse in which John 3:16, which is actually the first Bible verse I ever learned as a kid, and I think most people do, if that held truth to what we have been taught. So let's take a quick peek at that, and I'll show you what it's talking about. So for so loved Eloah the world as his Son, the only begotten, he would give, that everyone who believed in him might not perish, but have life which is eternal. And I recently did a teaching on what life eternal is, if you would like to see that. I just released it a few days ago, and I'll include the link. But let's take a look at this word for word, and I may have to just make these separate teachings because I don't want to get them too long, because I know that it's difficult for us with a shortened attention span to be able to sit for a long time to go through these teachings. And I know they're lengthy, and I apologize for that. But I want you to be able to understand what you're seeing, so I don't necessarily want to hurry through either. So the very first word in this verse, we see the word thus, and we have the Hey Kaf Nun, olive. So just in looking at this, we can see that there's a revelation that comes that is going to bend people, that is related to the mouth that speaks forth revelation, a spiritual path that will take you to become one as the Alephim. Quite harmless enough in that. Then we have the next word, for, which is actually the word ger, and you can see it down here. Gimel Yod Resh is the root, and so that's the only thing, there's nothing that's been added to it. But this is also the word for sojourner and a wanderer. And in looking at it, we have the Gimel, that which means to gather and assemble, walking to the water, to lift, means camel as well, so one that is going to the water in order to store it up, the living water teachings. And the yod has been added, so this means power, means, and direction has been placed within the sojourner, the wanderer, in order to raise them up from being poor and destitute, to be a leader, to be the top and the head as a first fruit. And then we see the word for love, achav. And it's different because when we see it in Hebrew, it's ahava, but in Aramaic, it's achav. And ak means brother. The brothers who have built themselves through the 222, they have built love. They are the brotherhood of love. So you can see that transition from the ahava, which has two hays on it. We've shared that with you many times, and if you're new, I guess you're just hearing it for the first time. But this is a next step level of what this looks like, from the ahava to the achev. And this is the brotherhood that has built love. And then here we have the word for a God, which is Allaha, which is shocking probably for some people that Yod He Vav He is not in the New Testament. But that is just a progression of teaching to get us to the point where we are now seeing Allaha for what it is, the gods, which we're becoming. We forgot that we are, and I've already shared with that in a previous teaching that I will also link here. But these are the strong leader teaching authority shepherds that are going to come forth as the breathing ones in the Spirit, the inhale and the exhale, which is actually the exhale and the inhale here, but they are bringing forth the revelation of the teaching of oneness, which will yoke and tame the beast ego nature, and will instruct you so that you can turn and instruct others. And this is also the symbol for unity, oneness, but it's also the same symbol that talks about the thousandfold Christ anointing. There's really a lot here. Then we have the word world, and Alama is a beautiful word, because this is also connected to Leolam Vayed, forever and ever, the world of eternity. And what we're seeing here is we have these teaching shepherds of light that have seen the fountains of the living water within them and seen the purpose of what they needed to elevate their fallen flesh, so that they too could become teaching shepherds of light, the way of Mother and Father, the living water teachings, to bring forth the oneness unity. And this is the Aramaic word for world. Completely different than what we're seeing in just the English translation of it. Then let's go to this achna. And again, I'm not very good at pronouncing the words, because the sacred languages, in due time we will be speaking them, but they are really meant to be studied because of the amount of information that is contained within them. They reveal light to us and within us. So in this section here on the word where it's the Aleph, Yod, Kaf, Nun, Hey, we can see that it just means as and how. So there's already telling us that in order for us to be part of this world of eternity, there is a reason, there's a how involved. And through the presentation of the oneness teaching principle from those who've already been instructed in that way, that are teaching shepherds of life, that have been given the mouth to speak, they are going to give you this vision that's going to give you power, means, and direction that comes through the word by grasping a hold of it. And the Yod also means to give, and the open hand of power. So those that come as one, the instructors, the teaching shepherds, are generously giving you this vision if you hold out your hand to receive it, but then you must grasp a hold of it. And this kaf has been filled with a dagesh, so it means they've been filled up within and through the language, which has given them the ability to have incorruptible flesh through that spirit journey in the process of becoming one. This is a really powerful word just by the letters. Then we have the word sun. This is bara. And bara, if you have seen before, this is connecting us all the way back to Genesis 1:1 in the beginning. But this is a son who is an heir to a throne that comes forth, bringing a revelation with him. He will be known as the door, a teaching shepherd of light that will instruct you in the ways of Mother and Father, their living water teachings, and point you to the door within your heart so that you can spiritually build yourself through the 222 journey, how to build love, to raise you up from being poor and destitute, to bring forth the revelation of the Father's teaching, which is the esoteric side, the hidden message that is within the languages. And then we have the word where they said it is only, and it's begotten. They translate it as only begotten, but it literally is the word, the root of it means one. It means one, as in echad, I and my Father are one. And at this point, it could be translated as the only one, that was sent at that time, because he was the only one that was sent to give this message. This is the bringing forth of the divine feminine, which was absent because they had been under the divine masculine. So notice there are 3 yods in here. This is what I find is so fascinating about the language, because you would never see this. So he came to give a vision from the mother. He came to give this vision within you, within your heart, and he also came to give you the vision from the Father. 3 yods. And generally, just as a rule of thumb, you guys don't know this because you haven't been studying the language, but I'm going to give you a little secret here. Whenever you see a yod, it is meant that that yod would become a vav. So we have a gematria of 10, we have a gematria of 20, and we have a gematria of 30. These, in progression, through their number totals, if you add them, would be the yod, and then a kaf, and then a lamed, the total number 30, and I probably just lost some of you right there. But if you're listening to this, this is the progression of how we learn to become a teacher of light ourselves. And so it's critical to have all these yods come into play because of what they're bringing you, so that you too can be a teaching shepherd of light, and you too can be a door for another person to show them a way, to raise them up to be an heir, a parent to the throne, because this revelation needs to come. So like I said earlier, every time a yod is put in place, it's meant for a vav to secure it and to attach it. So then this would become 6, 6, 6, because the vav has the gematria of 6. This is a huge piece of the information, because the number of the man. So he would come, and it's the word to be unified, chod, but he came to do what? Here is the Hebrew word for life. He came to bring us life and bring it more abundantly, to teach us and empower us in the way of one, to be sealed in the Christ 1,000-fold anointing. I don't know about you, but that's huge to me. And then we have the other word. We're going to go and down take a look at it. So we looked at son, and we look at begotten, that is actually is the root of echad, being unified, that he is coming to give. He is coming to give. Wow. I'm just looking at this truthfully for the first time as well, and I just had to stop there for a moment because, oh my goodness, sorry for about the pause. What we see right here, you guys don't know this on the letters unless you know Aramaic. This is a yod and a hey and a bet. But if you look above, I can't click on this right now or it'll take this off the screen and you won't be able to see it. But it has been translated into a nun, tav, lamed, from a yod, hey, bet. That's making me scratch my head a little bit, because that's a profound shift. Because the Yod He Vav would be a vision that brings forth revelation so that you can spiritually build yourself through love. But in this situation, what he is giving is the spiritual path, the one covenant, the twin covenants that become one, hence why there's a dagesh in there, the twin covenants that have become one as a teaching shepherd of the Father. You don't see this very often. Wow. Whew. Wow. So whenever you see a lamed added on the suffix side, this is a representation of a cheap teaching shepherd that comes as a representation of Father. And this is why people wouldn't have known this, but they related to him as being as God, that it was God manifest. And I can see where they would say that in the Christian faith, but it's not the way they present it. He came as being unified. He came as being unified to present the spiritual path, the two covenants of mother and father that are meant to be unified as one, as a teaching shepherd of light of the Father. That is some serious representation right there. And he came to give everyone this opportunity. So we have the word kol, and as I've taught before, this is the word that also means bride. So he became the door to teach the way to the bride, if she would be willing to be bent and yoked to the language that brings revelation from the teaching shepherd of life, so they could be made whole and complete. We have the word here. That is to be a part of or with, and it is also the exact same way that we spell the word manna. So the door is going to come to present this to the bride so they can be whole and healed through the manna, which is the living water teachings of Mother and Father while we're here in our lower fleshly estate. Let's go back so I can finish this for you. So then we have the word meaning to trust and believe. And this is an absolutely beautiful word. In Aramaic, it is a He Yod Mem Nun, but this is the same root that we get the word Aman. So when you say Amen, when you pray, when you finish praying, this is the same root, Aman, and it means to foster and support, to care for as a nurse, and also as a foster parent. Raising up children, to be firm and faithful, to trust and believe. It also means to go to the right hand, to be quiet and completed. Like, there is so much here. This is also the root word for truth, which is Amet, Aleph, Mem, Tav. So what we're seeing here in this morphing of this word is the Dalet. So the door, okay, the door to belief is what he's presenting to us, that we present to everyone else once we get it, to go into the inward man where the revelation will come to deliver you from your beast ego nature. And there's teachings, the living water teachings, that are going to assist you on this, because they will bring forth this revelation that will give you the power, means, and direction necessary through that vision, through the living water teachings in the flesh, which is your manna, your daily manna, so that you can build yourself, build love through the 222, and be revealed as one who has been built. This word being not, that they would not perish. This means a teaching shepherd of light will come and teach you the way of one, putting you on the spiritual path of the Father to put you through the door into your inward man, where the instructions from one who has become the way, has become it through the teachings. They will instruct you through those teachings how to build love within you, but you must go within to make it happen. And they will come as a present revelation, as being revealed as one who has been sent from the Father, which again ties into this lamed right here, which I was so blown away by. So, and this word, by the way, means to like forget or wander away and perish. So this again is all about our remembering. Let's go back to continue down. And it also means to lose yourself. And we don't want to do that. We're trying to find ourselves. We were once lost and we need to be found. This is the whole purpose of that word. And then the next one we see here is but rather, which is the Aleph Lamed Aleph. And this Aleph Lamed Aleph are the two teachers of light, the Mother and the Father, that will come and instruct you. That is the whole purpose of this. So there's those that are coming that are in a representation of that have taken the spiritual path. And they're going to show you this, and they're going to be a representation of the Father, presenting themselves as a door of information, as they present the oneness teaching of Mother and the oneness teaching of Father that will instruct your heart. The Lamed being the first letter of heart, So it's connected and it's in the inside of these. So this is definitely instruction to your inward man at the place of your heart. Then we have the word here that also means to turn. And it's a Hey Vav Aleph. In this situation, if you can take a look at what I haven't highlighted, because I can't highlight it, there's a Nun Vav Nun. This is so that we would turn in the activity of life, the Nun Vav Nun, where we would propagate and that we would begin to make a strong base for ourselves. And this is the seed of life, the zirah of life, and that we would be able to share this message with others. This is also the same word for noon as in fish. This is why the early believers of the early church used the fish symbol, because they were propagating this message of oneness that would instruct your heart to become unified as Yeshua was one with his Father. He was unified. Chod, right there. And this lamed is out there in the middle of nowhere. I'm going to show you this because it always strikes me as, wow, that it's not seen that way. It means 2 and 4, but it's just a lamed all by itself. And in this form that we can see written, it has a hey added on to it. So this is for revelation that would come from a teaching shepherd of light that was bringing this, which is life, chai, the life that is unified, that is forever and ever. And this time it's not leolam, it's delalam. So if you want to enter into life which is eternal, it is by going into the inner man through the door of your heart to find the revelation that will eradicate that beast nature within that says we're separate, but it's also keeping you in a lower frequency so you can't remember. And it is for the teaching shepherd will be able to show you this so that you can become one. And these 2 letters right here are from what we know as the ascension process, to ascend, to come up, to become the highest. So you're ascending out of the beast ego system, the beast system that we live in, to be now set above in the waters of Shalom, where you know that you are an eternal being. And Olam also means to conceal and to be hidden. So these light bearers, these teachers of the light, are hidden in the world. They are eternal. They are going to come to show you the way to ascend out of the beast system so that you can be set above in the waters that are no longer of chaos but are of shalom. So, having gone through that, Yeshua is not the only begotten Son. He is a Son that at the time was presenting a triple vision message, one that would come from the Mother and one from the Father, and you could say one from the Spirit, that it would be talking to your spirit man within to bring forth this oneness principle. But I also need to show you one last thing. This word chod is also the word that we get for renew, or adding something new upon that which is already existing. Some people who might be in the Hebrew Roots movement right now, or have understanding of some of the Hebrew concepts, knows that the New Testament is called the Brit Chadashah, which means the renewed or repaired covenant. But in Aramaic, this means that it is a renewed or a brit brought forth with something added to it. And what is being added to it is that we now have the revelation of the Father, his esoteric teachings that we are revealing, that were meant to come to teach people the way so that they could understand life eternal without the beast, remembering that we are Elohim, that we are the ascending sons of God, the Benai Elyon, that we are coming out of the system of chaos and eradicating the beast ego nature, so that we can be one, just like Yeshua was. I and my Father are one, so that we can say, we and our Father are one. I'm not going to share any more on this because there was a lot already, but I will need to address his second question, and I will do so on another video. So let's have a discussion about this. Thank you for listening to me and watching this, and I look forward to answering more questions and showing it to you through the proof room. So shalom, shalom, and namaste.